This is Dan Hudson with University of Vermont Extension. It's early June. It's raining. We're wondering if we've lost nitrogen. We're wondering what kind of decisions we need to be making about side dressing the corn. And I want to show you today how to use a great program that's developed by Cornell, and it's called Adapt-N. It takes into account lots of variables that can help you predict what your nitrogen need is going to be and give you updates about when you need to think about side dressing in the event of a major nitrogen loss. So to get there, you just Google Adapt-N, click the Adapt-N link. You can get an account. I already have one, so I'm going to sign in right now. Okay, so we're going to pretend like we have a field that's ready to be side dressed. I'm going to set up a new location. This field is not yet in the system. And we are in Vermont, so we're in the Northeast. Looking at the 2013 season, I'm going to call this Sykes 12. Just the name of the field, whatever you want to name it. You can put in the coordinates if you happen to know them off the top of your head, but otherwise just use the map to drag the pin. Actually, you're dragging the map, the pin is staying stationary, and you're trying to get over, and you can scroll with the mouse. You're trying to get over to the particular field, or at least very close to it, where you're growing the corn. So here we are, Derby Line, Vermont. That is the field. Click Submit New Location. Okay, now it's in the system, so we can select that field from the list that we currently have in here. Season again is 2013, no groupings. We're going to call that Sykes 12, or we've already called it Sykes 12, and it will load up for us, and we can input the information about the field. Each of these tabs has a list of different values that you need to be entering. So right now we're going to look at the mineral nitrogen inputs and the corn information. So we did put in some starter fertilizer. You could put in all your fertilizer inputs here, but we only have starter so far. And the fertilizer that we put in is ammonium polyphosphate, 6 pounds per acre, hardly any, with a starter, 2 inches to 4 inches below the surface. We don't have any other inputs. If we did, we would put them right here. Corn variety, it's a field corn variety, and it is a silage variety of it's a 95-day corn relative maturity, and it was planted. It'll change the month back to May. It was planted on May 30th, and at a population of 35,000, and we expect a harvest, the yield to be 21 to 23 tons per acre. You don't click Submit yet. That's at the very end. We need to put in information about the soil. We know that this is a sandy loam, and if you're from New York or some other states, you'll have your particular soil series named in there, but we don't. So we're just going to go with the standard sandy loam and the standard rooting depth because we don't have specific information about that for this field. The slope from the soils maps, it says 3 to 8%. We will say that we do have a soil test in the last 3 years. They want to know the organic matter because of the nitrogen that can be released from that. Whoops, it was 8 inches deep and 5.2% organic matter. Tillage, they're incorporating their manure, so it's a spring plowing done right after the manure is applied in May, early May, at a depth of 12 inches. Okay, now we can go to the manure and rotations. We can put up to 3 different manure applications in per year for each of 3 years. So in 2011, they applied in May, early May, and incorporated within 5 days. And it was a liquid manure, so it's in gallons per acre, and they put on 4,500 gallons per acre. The manure analysis coming back from the lab said that they had 12.5 pounds of ammonium per 1,000 gallons and 15 pounds of organic nitrogen per 1,000 gallons. So that is our first of 3 applications that I'm going to put in. The 2012 information we're going to say is the same. We actually only have let's see, May 3rd, 1 test report for this. So if you don't have a current test report or you don't have the historical reports, I don't recommend that you just assume that it's always the same, because it often is not. OK, and we're going to say that it's the same for each of these 3 years. And then the 2013 application is the one that we do have the report for, and that was the same, early May. Incorporated within 2 days, 4,500 gallons. So they ask for a little bit more information for the current year because the ammonium is relevant this year, in that it hasn't been lost from the system yet or taken up by a plant. And they also want to know the percent solids for the current year from the manure test report. That is 7%. There was a sod that was killed from a hayfield in 2011. At the end of the season, it was plowed down in November, and it had very little legume, and it was plowed down. The previous crop to this year was silage corn. And that's all the information from those tabs. If we missed one, it will tell us. So let's see if we missed anything. And this will give us a summary of what amount of nitrogen they expect the corn to need based on the yield estimate from this year. It's also going to estimate how much nitrogen is currently available in the soil. And based on 35 years of weather data, they will describe how much they expect to become available over the course of the year. So here's the amount they say the crop is going to need. This is how much is currently in the soil, they say, plant available based on the modeling that they've done. This is how much they expect to become available over the course of the season based on what typical weather is, moisture and temperature and so on. This is based on also the manure inputs that I told them about, the sod that we know that we plowed down and so on. So right now they're telling us that we have excess nitrogen, 60 pounds excess, and right now they're recommending no side dress. That can change. If we get a leaching event, you get an email from the system. If you opt into those emails, you can get text messages that are updates and so on. I want to look at a full report, and right here I'm going to take it up to the top. You can see all the data that we put in to the system. I'll scroll down a little bit. Here's a summary of whether there's a recommendation right now or not, and all the nitrogen dynamics that we talked about already. Scrolling down a little bit more, we can see cumulative nitrogen mineralization for the year so far. You can see as you go through the year, when it gets warmer, you get more mineralization. There's been no uptake by the plant yet. These are total nitrogen losses. This was a leaching event from a couple of weeks ago when we had lots of rain. And there are many, many more useful graphs in this report. So I encourage you, use it, look at it, use it to generate a recommendation, follow the recommendation on at least a small part of one of your fields, flag it so you can see if there's any difference. Give me a call if you want to do some stock nitrate testing or yield trial to see if this actually worked on your farm, or at least get a better idea of whether it worked. My email address is daniel.hudson@uvm.edu.